The College Football Experience Week 9 reaction show on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog has just added Pick'em Scorchers, where you can win 100 times the amount of money you enter. Plus, every Sunday, they're giving away $100,000. Use the promo code SGPN at Underdog Fantasy for 100% deposit bonus up to $500. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research, platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com. Use that promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today, people. Plus, we're brought to you by the MMA Gambling Podcast. They just launched their YouTube channel. So to celebrate, we're giving away a MMA Gambling Podcast hoodie. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/MMA hoodie for all the details. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Mike Leach, head football coach at Mississippi State, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Yes. Woo! Welcome to the College Football Experience Week 9 reaction show. Oh, let that music just keep playing. It would just keep playing and playing and playing. I could do it all day. Shout out to the chat. They're rocking along. And we appreciate everyone. You can watch this, youtube.com/the college experience. Perhaps you're wondering who the hell you're listening to. And that's valid for the most part. My name is Colby Swiggin, Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I'm dying in this fucking country ass fucked up town. Shit flying in my mouth. That's fuck. I can't see pollen. And let's get the fuck out of this country, mother.
That's what some people are saying. Unbelievable day of college football. Beautiful day of college football, with the exception of exception of the game getting pretty shitty.
Couple, as usual, eyesores, for us traditional college football fans, in terms of, the aesthetic of the game.
Yeah.
And the viewing experience.
Someone should be fired.
Yeah.
Put me in charge. I want answers.
Colby had a great question. Who are these?
Who's in charge?
Yeah.
I would spend hours sending them emails every day. I need to know who's in charge.
Which person? Give me their personal.
Give me a panel. I don't give a shit. I will copy and paste that email. And you don't think I will?
Yeah.
You don't think I will? Ask Joe Theismann how many times I hit him up to get on the show before he came on the show. All right.
Persistence.
Yeah. So I'm saying, folks,
you're like, was it Shawshank Redemption? Years of this shit. They're finally going to break down and take away, or at least divide targeting into two different categories.
Yeah.
Give us that much.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You could say, like, Dundee, why does football suck? Or, well, why do you think football suck? Lawyer fucked me, right? That's a line from Shawshank Redemption, if you didn't know. All right, we're going deep there. Folks, I'm joined by my co-host. Give it up for former JMU Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi-oh. Oh yeah. Come on.
This is just fire.
A fantastic day of college football. A top 10 loss. Another undefeated goes down.
I mean, a counterfeit. Yeah. Let's start there. Let's start right there. Actually, let's start right fucking there. All right, because
let's start right there.
Kansas money line play. If you listen to me all week, I said they're going to win it outright. They're the better team than Oklahoma. I think if they played again, they would beat them. If anything, they might beat them by more. But I will say that was the worst ref game of the day. The absolute worst.
Can we make a promise right now that we're not going to make the whole episode about refereeing?
I can't do that.
Okay.
I can't make that. All right.
Okay.
You're asking me to make a promise about not bringing up the refs. I've been drinking for 12 hours watching college football. What the fuck are you talking about?
That's true. You watch 12 hours of college football, you're going to have some complaints.
First off, Oklahoma fumbles inside the Kansas 10 in the first quarter. And for some reason, we can review every play, but not that play. Oh, no, they've said forward progress. We have this thing called audio equipment where you can hear the whistle, Pat. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He fumbles way before the whistle. Ridiculous call. Ridiculous that they can't review it. Once again, I found it ironic that it was happening to Kansas and not Oklahoma. However, because I thought there was a questionable hold that was later called on Kansas, but Oklahoma did get screwed, and I will bring this up right here. If you see that comment there. So Jason Bean on 3rd and goal from the 5 or from the 4 basically has a walk-in touchdown, and he pulls the Davis Brin bullshit that happened at Tulsa against Cincinnati, where he slides first. And the defender for Oklahoma, you know what he did? He did a terrible thing. He played football.
Yeah. He tried to stop him from scoring a touchdown. God forbid you try to play football in this day and age. Yeah.
So,
the quarterback slide should be eliminated inside the 10-yard line.
Should be eliminated in general.
In general.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But there's this thing called the end zone. See, if you get into the end zone, you score.
Right.
So you're trying to make sure they don't score.
This is where we need the
right.
Bobby Boucher quote. You see, you try to score the more points, and then you stop the other team from scoring.
I feel like I need to. Maybe we can call Dean Blandino, because see, the goal is to have them not score. So you kind of commit to them not scoring, right? So when Jason Bean randomly does a random slide, I don't think the defender or any human being, for the most part, in this country of ours, thinks that the quarterback's going to slide into the end zone, right? Yeah. Never seen it done before.
Well, we saw it with Davis Brin.
But no, but that wasn't a touchdown. Yeah. You see my point is like, Davis Brin did do that. So we eject the player for assuming that he was going to run for a touchdown.
That he has,
right?
male genitalia.
Yeah, and he has a job to make sure they don't score the touchdown. So wait, we're kicking him out of the game for doing exactly what he should be doing.
All right.
Fucking absolutely fucking insane. Absolutely fucking insane. I don't know. I mean, look, I have Kansas. I do believe Kansas is the better team. I think if they played tomorrow, they would beat them. I think if they had Jalen Daniels healthy, they would have won by 14, 17, something like that.
Jason Bean 15 of 32.
Yeah.
No touchdowns, 2 interceptions. However, a pretty clutch rushing touchdown there.
True. He actually, I thought he was going to collapse after the 2 interceptions. I mean, even before the 2 interceptions, but Kansas is my team. And all of a sudden, Patty CC, everybody wanted to say Texas and Oklahoma are going to play in the Big 12 championship after that Red River shootout.
Boy.
And you see the amount of bullshit they're splattering on America.
Well, I wouldn't say it's necessarily bullshit. Both of those are probably, would you say, I guess you can't say there's a front runner. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams with 1 loss in conference at this point: Oklahoma, Iowa State, Oklahoma State, Texas, and K-State, and 2 others with just 2 losses. That's Kansas and West Virginia.
I mean, I think this is, Quinn Ewers is out multiple weeks, potentially for the rest of the regular season. Yeah. This is wide open.
That said, Texas whooped BYU's ass, and I made the prediction that BYU
should have covered that.
Would have been able to.
No, we should have covered that.
I don't know that we should have. Texas whooped their ass.
No, we should have covered it. I watched that whole game. I don't know how BYU fucked this up. Now I will say Texas was a way better team, but we should have covered that. We should have covered that.
Yeah, maybe we should have backdoor covered it. But statistically speaking, like that was one thing I'm just assuming kind of that BYU, when they win some tough games and the team that they have been over the years, we're looking at a similar brand that is going to, play intense football in all facets of the game. I thought they would challenge Texas in all facets of the game. They did not. They were bullied. And this isn't the same BYU team we're used to. And I should have known.
I thought their defense did actually a decent job. I just thought the offense, like they kept getting deflections and interceptions, and they have zero like playmakers on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
So that was like the one to me where I was like, but I don't think it should have been 35-6. I mean, I actually think when you jump into the Texas only had 50 more yards than them.
Yeah, I guess
that's what I'm saying. Like it was just they shit the bed.
That's pretty
what I mean?
crazy for a 4 touchdown deficit to only have a 50-yard deficit. Yeah, I mean, one of the stats I was looking at this week that I usually look at is yardage per game deficit, or I guess advantage. The BYU -66. That's I'd have to pull up exactly where that falls, but I imagine that's around the bottom 25% of the nation in terms of yardage deficit. So that is a major red flag that I should have been aware of prior to this game. And
Texas got problems though, because the passing game did not look very good.
Yeah.
Like there's no way Texas is running the table with him at quarterback.
Who does Texas have left on the slate?
Kansas State next week.
That's a loss.
At TCU, at Iowa State, home to Texas Tech. I mean,
several tough games.
Yeah.
But a particularly bad time to not have Quinn Ewers, because K-State is looking very sharp right now. In fact, to me, they look like the best team in the conference.
I mean, I think there's several, like I know Mac just sent me a nice text message saying the Big 12 is wide open because we have Bedlam next week. Honestly, I would favor Oklahoma State to not knowing. I mean, the history, obviously Oklahoma fucks with Oklahoma State, but as far as like what I was on a show this morning or during the Saturday, and they were surprised that I took Kansas money line. They're like, why did I think that I should take Kansas money? I was like, because I don't think Oklahoma's very good. I think they're a 7-5 team trapped in a weak resume. You know what I mean? Maybe 8-4. Like
they're honestly not that different from UCF. I mean,
they're very similar. They're a gimmick ass team that you'll be good enough to be bowling, but to be considered for like, I would take a lot of teams to beat them.
Yeah.
I'll put it like that.
That said, they'll be in a lot of games.
Yes.
I don't know that I consider them a 7-5 team, but they're a team that won't run the table because they don't have that kind of control over the game.
Other than the Texas game,
explosive offense.
They haven't really looked good, and they haven't really played anybody good.
Yeah, probably true. And I mean, look at you want to talk about common opponents. What was it? Texas last week against Houston. What was the score of that one? That was 31-24, and Texas barely survived, so a 7-point win. Then the following week, Kansas State beats them 41-0. So a 7-point game or a 41-point game.
I ate a big old bag of shit on that.
I mean, who knows? It varies from week to week. The Big 12 is very competitive top to bottom, and a different team shows up each week for each school, but still, I think Kansas State right now, especially without Quinn Ewers for Texas, they're going to whoop Texas's ass or at least beat them.
I will say, like Texas's style of football though makes it harder for K-State.
In terms,
I feel like K-State would fuck up Oklahoma. Texas is a harder win for them, just the way they play.
Well, Texas is a more balanced approach. Now, I don't know if that remains the case without good quarterback play.
I'm just saying, like K-State doesn't have a traditional offense. It kind of is like a
gimmicky.
I don't even think gimmicky. I think just like kind of odd,
unique.
Weird. But I think it Texas's defense, the weakness of Texas's defense, I don't think K-State can exploit. And that's the Texas secondary that we saw Houston and Oklahoma just shred.
K-State typically a mobile quarterback.
So I actually think Texas. I mean, I still think I'd probably take K-State right now with Murphy, but I think it's the other games. I think TCU can fuck up Texas because of the their passing attack. and their history against them. Shit, I feel like TCU is like 8-3 in the last 11 or something.
Interesting. Interesting. Either way, without Quinn Ewers, Texas kind of in big trouble at this point.
Yeah. Look, we're going to talk more. We're going to talk every game. We're going to go through every game. We're not going to bullshit you here. All right. Look, I want to tell you that the College Football Experience Weeknight Reaction Show is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog has just introduced Scorchers. Go 5 for 5 and pick up Scorchers and enjoy a spicy 100 times payout. And for a limited time, Underdog's extended their first deposit up to $500. They're giving away $100,000 every Sunday on Underdog Fantasy. 10 lucky players will win $10,000 each. So watch along, make some picks, and maybe make a little extra cash on Underdog's mobile app or website, underdogfantasy.com. Let me see what I see here. The ad read says, give out your favorite dog. Well, NFL tomorrow. Let's dabble with Steelers. Steelers are going to win against Jacksonville. All right. Steelers are going to win against Jacksonville.
Play good ball.
Yeah. I know you're a Steelers fan, so let's go.
Let's go back. 1990. Don't worry about it.
So when you sign up with the promo code SGPN, Underdog will double your first deposit up to $500. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by the MMA Gambling Podcast Contest. Yes, the MMA Gambling Podcast just launched their YouTube channel. And in honor of that, we're giving away an MMA Gambling Podcast hoodie to one lucky winner. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/MMA hoodie to submit your entry today. And make sure to subscribe to the MMA Gambling Podcast on YouTube. All right, we are back on the College Football Experience. Patty C. So you have right now Oklahoma's 4-1, Texas is 4-1, K-State is 4-1, Oklahoma State is 4-1, Iowa State is 4-1,
and Oklahoma State starting to turn it on. Now, is Cincy starting to shit the bed even more so? Yes, but Oklahoma State all of a sudden they're
red hot.
Yeah,
they're red fucking hot. It's like their non-con was the preseason. They're just like, okay, now we try.
Started to figure out what you would expect from a Gundy coach team.
I would even say Kansas at 3-2. They head to Ames this weekend. Next weekend's Big 12, as Mac was alluding to in his text message to me.
What do we got?
You got K-State at Texas.
Nice.
Oklahoma at Oklahoma State.
Oh man.
Kansas at Iowa State. Those right there, and beautiful. Then BYU at West Virginia. I've been looking forward to the Mormons versus Meth Heads matchup.
So wait, right there, you have the top 6 teams in the conference playing against each other.
Yeah, and as Rob Donaldson said, Iowa State is legitimately so good. They are super young, and each week I feel like they're getting better and better and better. And by the way, if Malik Murphy is the starting quarterback for Texas, they're not winning in Ames because Iowa State's defense super fucking legit. I don't think they'll have success on the ground against Iowa State's defense. That means he's going to have to throw the ball, and I was not convinced today that him throwing the ball will be successful.
When do they play Iowa State? Is that 2 weeks?
2 weeks, I think.
Let me pull up Texas schedule. Yeah. I mean, maybe these guys adjust week to week. We're awfully harsh on Texas after they just whooped BYU's ass by 4 touchdowns. We're painting a doom and gloom scenario here for Texas with the.
This is just a normal. Any quarterback that's never started on the road, I would fade them on the road.
Well, they got 3 weeks till Iowa State.
I would love to know the record.
K-State at TCU at Iowa State and then hosting Texas.
I would love to know the record of quarterbacks. I mean, short of Caleb Williams, that just walked into college football and won on the road.
It's true.
There's not many.
True.
And look, I mean, like I said, the yardage today tells the tale. Texas dominated that game. I'm not saying they don't deserve to. They were the better team. However, I just think you're not going to be able to pass like that successfully against Iowa State.
Yeah.
They're going to bottle up the run and you're going to have to pass. So
it's the same thing with UCF, and West Virginia. It's like UCF, I think may have even outgained West Virginia, but somehow managed to lose by 3 touchdowns.
West Virginia whooped their ass, man. That was like 41-28
it's
final score.
Plumlee had like 25 turnovers. and some of them were flukish. Like you say, one hit the receiver right in the hands, and he kicked it into the defender's hands.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to, West Virginia moves to 5-3. They're not even eliminated yet.
Yep.
You know, so
is the Big 12 going to knock itself out of the playoff conversation? Presumably at this point.
Well, I think the Pac-12 too, but I don't know. Right now, by the way, Oregon State, Arizona 10-10 in the third after one of the most ridiculous fake field goals right before the half by the Beavers.
It's gonna be fucking two Big 10 teams again, and they're gonna leave the Pac-12 and the Big 12 out. Thank God for the 12-team playoff next year, because I'm so sick of this.
Well, the problem with the Big 10, if we want to just dive into that, I know we got to go chronologically here, but I think the Big 10 is the worst Power 5 conference. Yeah, I'll say that again. Ohio State, I think, is good. Michigan's good. Penn State is somewhat good. Some of these other teams that they were propping up, I don't know about you guys, but I was on Northwestern. Thank you very much. I do remember on this very show, NC Nick and Patty C questioning me. Maryland was so fucking counterfeit all year. They're so, and that's what I'm saying. This is what's annoying is when Maryland was in the ACC, if they were to do this, people would not respect them, but they jump over to the Big 10 and they're respected even though they beat absolutely nobody. They beat nobody all year.
Let me pull up Maryland.
They're fucking terrible. They don't have a win against a team with a winning record. All right. This is a garbage team. Even Noah, who's a Big 10 guy, says, I'm with Colby. The Big 10 blows. It is the worst conference this year. There's a lot of trash teams.
I'm going to disagree with you that Maryland is trash here.
They suck.
Okay. Let's talk about the teams that, let's talk about the Virginia game first, right? And if you're going to dock Virginia for getting blown out in this game, then you got to give Maryland credit for blowing out Virginia.
I actually think the Virginia I saw today with Tony Muskett would beat Maryland.
They're not that different of a team. Anthony Calandria was playing good ball until he threw 3 interceptions in 3 consecutive plays against Maryland.
The wheel route only worked a couple plays.
No,
and then that was my analysis of that game.
300 passing yards like 3 or 4 times this season. He's not a bad quarterback. UVA's offense been.
There's a reason why he's not
acknowledged
right now.
That Malachi Fields, Malik Washington, and Perry Jones, they have some explosive players. I'm calling you out right now.
What do you mean?
You've told me they don't have any.
What's
their
record? What's their record, buddy?
It doesn't matter. What I'm saying is UVA.
You can't say that's a good win.
Just beat a top 10 team.
Georgia Tech just beat a top 10 team.
Okay. They did better than Clemson did against fucking NC State. UVA did. UVA lost to what was Boston College 5-3 now by 3 points.
Boston College is
on the
Maryland.
road.
They are Maryland.
Okay.
They're fool's gold. They don't play anybody
they
good.
Just took a 6-2 Miami team to overtime. UVA is a decent team that just isn't there yet. They're losing close.
Is Miami?
They
a good
lost by 1
team,
point to a
is
fucking
Miami
8-0 JMU team.
Do you think Miami's a good?
I think Miami's a decent football team, and I think UVA is a decent football team, despite their record being 2-6.
You can't say that.
I mean,
you can't fucking.
You can say that because you can fucking watch the games and see how close they are to winning these games against decent teams with winning records.
Buddy, they were struggling with
you shat on me,
William
buddy.
and Mary. William and Mary is losing every game in the FCS now.
William and Mary's 5-3 in the FCS.
They suck.
Whatever. And they beat them. They beat them by 12 points. They were struggling.
You cannot tell me UVA is a good football team.
I can't tell you they're a good football team, but I can tell you that they are a semi-respectable football team that Maryland shellacked by 28 points. In fact, Maryland beat UVA by more than all the other teams on their fucking schedule that include JMU 8-0, but Miami 6-2,
but
5-3, NC State.
The point metrics here, like that's all bullshit. If they had Tony Muskett, maybe UVA beats them.
Tony Muskett did shit against fucking Tennessee. He sucked at the beginning of the year. It wouldn't have fucking mattered.
Tennessee's what 5? Tennessee's
UVA's played a very challenging schedule. Anyway, I don't think Maryland's bad as you do.
So what's Maryland's best win?
3-point loss
what is
against fucking Illinois. Okay, ouch, that sucks. But it was a 3-point loss
at home. That wasn't on the road.
A 6-point loss at Northwestern, who's what now? 4-4. Okay.
This is my point. Fuck you. No. Fuck you.
And Ohio State, which what they were down by 3 in the fourth quarter against the number 3 team in the country. Fuck you.
This is why you're an idiot. All right. This is why you're a complete
You're
fucking
a fucking
idiot.
hater.
No, is that quoting Northwestern's record? They have to play each other. This is why the Big Ten is phony. Is like Maryland gets these cheap wins. Yeah. Northwestern, someone's got to win these fucking games. When you're throwing shit against shit, someone's got to win these games. There's only 3 decent teams in this whole conference.
What about Iowa? Decent?
No.
Terrible.
Their offense sucks. Their defense is good. They're great at home. How about that? At home, they're a very good team. On the road, they can't score.
Look, I'm just saying Maryland's not dog shit counterfeit. They're okay. They're not good. But they're not a stain on the conference.
No, but I think like they are. I would take almost every team in the Big 12 to beat them. Almost short of Cincinnati.
Probably just short of Cincinnati.
I would take Houston to beat Maryland.
I don't know.
I would.
I don't know. Houston kind of.
They almost beat Texas last week. The fuck you talking about? They got robbed. They're at the 8-yard line against Texas.
Let's look at Houston. All right, let's get to fucking recapping the games.
Yeah, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. All right, let's go. How you guys doing out there? Anyway, look.
Stressing our audience out.
Another phony team. The SMU Mustangs. They looked amazing. 69-10 over Tulsa.
Phony though?
Because they still haven't played. They still haven't won a game against a team with a winning record, which is almost incredible. Because get this. They are going to go. They don't play a team with a winning record until November 18th.
Has Georgia beaten anyone with the winning record at this point, though?
Well, Kentucky's what, 5? Yeah, a phony Kentucky and a phony Florida.
What's Florida like? 4-3,
I think.
4-3 now.
Yeah, maybe 5-3.
Florida 5-3.
They got McNeese. They got Charlotte. They got South Carolina. They got Tennessee. That's 4. Is there a 5th in there? Maybe.
Pull Florida up real quick. Either way, do you think just because 5-3? Do you think just because Georgia's whooped a bunch of counterfeit or bad teams that they are indeed counterfeit, or could SMU also just have played poor competition but whooped them so thoroughly that they might actually be a decent team?
I mean, when I watch SMU, I don't think they're very good. Like, I think they're decent, but like East Carolina, like that final score says 31-10. That was a close game in the fourth quarter. ECU's terrible. I don't buy into SMU. They're going to get to the AAC championship because that schedule, and I think I handicapped this in the preseason, saying they have the most favorable conference schedule. They don't play UTSA. They don't play Tulane. They don't play Florida Atlantic. They duck all the good teams in the AAC.
Let me tell you what, buddy. 69-0, 55-0, and 69-10 are all on their schedule in their favor. Sure, they got slapped by TCU, which might be a better indication of who they actually are.
The eye test, watch them, dude. ECU game. When you watch the ECU game, you're like, I mean, look, they're not a bad team, but they're not good. They're SMU.
Right. Who are they? Who is SMU in the Big 12? Who's their equivalent?
Houston. They're the same as Houston.
Nah.
Yeah, they are. I actually think I would take Houston to beat them.
6-2?
Mm-hmm.
And what's Houston sitting there at?
Like 3-4, I think. But tell me, what is the SMU win that has you believing in this team? Like, not the score, the team. What is the best win on their resume, Patty C? Can I recite the records?
Yeah, rattle them off. Houston's 3-5 right now, by the way.
Okay, so Louisiana Tech is currently 3-6, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's one of their wins. Prairie View, shout out to Bubba McDowell. They're terrible in the SWAC, losing record in the FCS. Charlotte and Biff Poggi, they're 2-6. East Carolina is 1-7. Temple is 2-6. Tulsa is 3-5. Which one are you deeming the best win for SMU? Which one on that resume stands out as this team can play? No scores, no looking at scores.
Okay.
What is that win that is so convincing?
Probably Charlotte.
I think you might be right. I think Charlotte would be their best win that they have. That's terrible. Dude.
Well, here to your point, both teams have played TCU, Houston and SMU. Houston lost to TCU 36-13. SMU lost to TCU 34-17. They may be Houston.
They're the same, and I think I trust Houston more. I trust Holgerson more than Lashley. Anyway, let's move along. UMass, I called this one first ever win against the Black Knights. Jeff Monken, I was a big fan for a long time, but you done fucked up. You made these rule changes and you said, you know what? We're done doing the triple option.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Troy Calhoun over there in Colorado Springs says, nope, I'm going to put the pressure on the refs to call this bullshit.
Grabbed his nuts.
Air Force undefeated. Army looks like a fucking train wreck, man. Watching them, they had a red zone interception. I don't know if anyone watched this game. One of the worst interceptions of the season. They're trying to be someone they're not. This is like when you go. This is like you when you're in high school and you know that. I know one. I don't want to blast them on air, but there was a guy. I separated his shoulder in football.
Okay,
because he was a little bitch and he talked a ton of shit. And normally as long as it wasn't to me, I'd let it fly. And then he talked it to me.
Yeah.
And I separated his shoulder the very next play. Very next fucking play. Right. But he was trying to be someone he wasn't. You know what I mean?
Mm. Jeff Monken.
That's Army.
A passing coach. Yeah. You are not. Army, even more disgusting. What has to be for Army fans is they got run roughshod over by UMass. K'Ron Lynch Adams, 34 rushes, 234 yards, 6.9 yards per rush, 3 touchdowns. Ugh.
Yeah, they suck. All right. Even with a quarterback named Champ Harris. God damn it, he should be good. All right. No, look, I was on that one. I told you, first ever win. UConn covered against Boston College.
I'd be curious how many times Army let up 230 yards rushing by a single player in the last in the entire time they've run the triple option, which is basically their entire since the 40s when it was. Do we have any idea when Army started running the option and when the service academies?
No, like full on triple option. Actually, I think it was more recently than that, but they were doing very close
in the 90s at the very least.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but even if you go watch like the film in the 70s or 50s, 60s, it's not like full triple option, but it's like it's pretty much a wishbone. Yeah,
I'm sure the option evolved over time. I know like Iowa pre-flight, then you had like wishbone with like Texas, Oklahoma, etc.
I mean, they're doing like traditional I-form shit too. If you go watch, but
some variation of the option.
It was very similar, I would say, if you go watch the film.
Yeah.
UConn covers for me, and this was a lucky ass cover. I know me and Mac were very delighted to cover this game because basically Boston College kneeled the ball at like the 2-yard line, so they could have won. But BC wins 21-14. Patty C, I have a ticket for BC over 6 wins. They are currently 5-3. You know they can play for the ACC championship. I'm not fucking with you. Hear me out here.
Maybe a real threat to Florida State.
Hear me out here. If Louisville loses to Miami, or like a Virginia Tech who's starting to play better, or your UVA squad beats Louisville, you know BC has 2 losses. Now, one of them is to Louisville, so they would need Louisville to lose twice. But I think they could win out. I'm going to read you the remaining schedule for BC in conference.
Yeah,
they go to that filthy Carrier Dome, in to take on the Syracuse Orangemen.
Winnable.
Home to Virginia Tech.
In Chestnut Hill in November. Winnable.
At Pitt.
The Pitt that we're seeing right now, very winnable.
Black Friday game against the Miami Hurricanes in Boston.
Yeah, if it's below 50 degrees, you better count on Miami.
Dude, they could be in the ACC championship.
They
All
were
they need is like
a little help.
Imagine if Louisville goes to Miami and loses, but if Florida State beats Miami because Miami already has 2 losses, then all you would need is just one upset.
Well, Louisville has to play Tech next week, and Tech is playing better ball.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
By the way, if Tech, I think, controls its own destiny too. After a 1-4 or 1-3 start in the non-conference slate, they are now 3-1 in conference and in complete control of their destiny. In fact, next week,
what's their remaining schedule?
At Louisville,
Tough.
At Boston College,
Winnable.
NC State,
Winnable.
At Virginia.
Dude, they're gonna like the Louisville game.
They're gonna lose at least one of those, and they'll be out.
Oh no, they'll lose the Louisville game.
3 road games.
Yeah. Patty C on Oklahoma, Kansas. Let me build you a case on why Kansas could go. They now have the tiebreaker over Oklahoma. We suspect that Oklahoma will lose again. If you had to bet, would you? So Oklahoma's remaining schedule is at Oklahoma State, home to Dub V, at BYU, home to TCU.
50-50 odds they lose again.
Really?
Yeah.
I think they're going to lose both their road games.
Possible.
But anyway, Kansas only needs one more loss, and then they would have to from Oklahoma, and all they would have to do is win out, assuming all the other pieces. Now, Kansas' remaining schedule at Iowa State this weekend, home to Texas Tech, home to Kansas State in the Sunflower Showdown, at Cincinnati.
So we said at Iowa State, tough. Home to Texas Tech, not a gimme, but huge that they have them at home.
Home to Kansas State.
Kansas State. What have they done against Kansas State lately?
I believe last year they lost by I think it was 20, if memory serves me correct. But last year was in the Little Apple.
This year they lost by 15 in the Little Apple. Yeah.
Yeah. So you see my point.
It's winnable.
Yeah. It's winnable.
And then Cincinnati looks like a shoe-in win at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a path. That's a huge win today for them.
Yeah, that was massive, awesome, and sending Oklahoma out the door with an L in Big 12 play.
The great scene in college football today. They took the goalpost to like a fucking lake or a pond that was over there. Fantastic stuff. You don't get that shit anywhere else. That's why college football is the greatest. All right. I did eat a bag of shit on Florida State, Wake Forest. Florida State 41, Wake Forest 16. I still thought one of these touchdowns was bogus, but and that would have gave me the cover. But
if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, it'd be Christmas every day of the year, Colby.
I just find it weird that they never review that. It's like this is the first score of the game. They have Jaheim Bell on like a 60-yard pass.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Looked away from the screen for 1 second, and Florida State was
they dominated today. On the board. They dominated today, and that's a very good win for them.
Well, it's the first one of those teams that you play. They tend to I don't know. It's stupid to say this because this is every team, but they can either get caught by a scrappy team or they can absolutely dominate a scrappy team. But I feel like inferiorly talented teams, Florida State generally destroys, which Wake Forest is. I mean, same thing with Clemson, Wake Forest.
Wake had their number lately.
Yeah. So I guess I have no point there.
Wait, but okay. So is Florida State going to go 12-0? They're at Pitt this week. Narduzzi with some great comments saying, "Hold on, let me quote this. Let me make sure I'm not fucking this up." Pat, you gotta love Pat Narduzzi. He calls out Deion Sanders and shit, but then he says this regarding his players. We lost a lot of good players last year. We thought we'd replace them, and we obviously didn't do a good job with that. It's not you. It's not you. I guess maybe he's saying a little bit of you. But
well, if he's criticizing Deion's extensive use of the transfer portal, maybe that'll change his mind. Another dude who might get his mind changed about using the portal, someone you pointed out, Dabo Swinney.
Yeah. Let's talk about the ACC race though. Hang on. Florida State at Pitt next week.
That shouldn't be a problem, but we circled that one as a problem.
Yeah, but Pitt is way worse than I thought they would be
today.
They were way worse than I thought they would be.
7 against Notre Dame. Yeah.
Home to Miami.
That
could be it.
That's
just because that's an insane rivalry game.
Yeah.
Home to North Alabama.
In fact, I can't say I think they lose to Miami.
They did the SEC. Home to North Alabama on November 18th. Yeah. Barn burner there. Then at Florida, you think they could lose in the Swamp?
I think Miami's the biggest threat there, even at home.
Yeah. Wake moves to 4-4. Let's see if Clausen can get to a bowl game. Patty C. I know we're going to talk more about the. I guess let's talk about the ACC race then. Let's. I'm all over the fucking place here, but okay.
Louisville handled business against Duke.
And what's that record now for those cards?
7-1, 7-1, and the Notre Dame win looking more impressive by the week. And look, I'll say this: they whooped Notre Dame. It was not a fucking accident. Now, granted, Sam
Notre Dame
Hartman
even dressed it up late.
Yeah.
Sam
Hartman not having a Heisman campaign lately. You know, he had a couple interceptions today, if I'm not mistaken. Really, it was Al Golden's defense that led to that insane blowout. I want to say like 3 defensive touchdowns, but either way, Louisville whooped their ass, and Louisville's sitting at 7-1. Wait, does Louisville play Florida State in the regular season?
No.
ACC could potentially get 2 teams in the. They won't. They'll never put 2 ACC teams unless one's Notre Dame and one's either Florida State or Clemson.
Well, here's the thing: Louisville's remaining schedule. They're 7-1, home to Virginia Tech.
Dangerous, but they should win that.
I think so too. 8-1, home to Virginia.
They should win that.
9-1 at Miami.
Dangerous, but winnable. Should be win. I would favor Louisville.
Home to Kentucky.
Dangerous.
I think they're much better than Kentucky. I think the scariest one's the Miami one.
I think there might be one more loss on there because even Virginia Tech and Virginia are okay, even though the records don't really necessarily indicate that. What's Virginia Tech's record at this point?
4-4.
4-4. Okay.
You get them winning the national championship over there.
Well, they might be in the. Well, they're not going to be in the college football playoff, but they might be in the ACC championship game.
Yeah, I think Louisville will be in the ACC championship. That's why I have my future. East Carolina. Well, I mean, we're kind of all over the fucking place here. ACC.
Yeah,
we're talking other schools in the ACC.
Well, North Carolina, Georgia Tech. I guess it's not really chronologically we're going here, but
hold on.
Yeah,
you mentioned Dabo Swinney, Pat Fitzgerald. I'm sorry, not Pat Fitzgerald. Pat Narduzzi, right? You think Narduzzi's done at Pitt after that ass whooping he got from Notre Dame?
58-7. I mean, it immediately has to.
I cannot believe that happened.
There's some symmetry.
That's the most shocking outcome of this whole fucking Saturday.
Well, wasn't it Al Golden's last game in Miami that they lost 58-0? Now Al Golden, the defensive coordinator at Notre Dame, puts it on Pitt 58-7. You know, he's getting rid of that demon.
I would have put a lot of money. Like if you told me that was going to happen, I would put down a shit, even like 50-7. I was like, no way, not possible that Notre Dame could score that many points on Pitt. Unbelievable.
Well, their offense did not.
Still, whatever.
Al Golden, by the way, probably going to be getting some looks at a head coaching position after this year.
Unfucking believable. So you think Narduzzi? I mean, is that job open?
What's his? How long has he been there?
He's been there quite a while. Do a quick wiki.
I feel like it's stupid to
to just
kill a coach who's been pretty damn good for a long time.
I would just think their fan base is probably sick of it.
Being the same team over.
Are you ever going to be able to reach the next level?
They got pretty damn close to like.
And then he got rid of the OC.
He did fire Whipple. That's right. His record at Pitt so far 64-46. So what is that? Out of 110 games, it's not okay. But the prior 2 years, he finished in the top 25 to this year.
I understand.
Yes, it's stupid to fire a dude who had been in the top 25.
But this is one where I disagree. Like this one makes more sense to me than like the Ferentz thing, because I believe Ferentz is at the maximum. I don't think you are at the maximum at Pittsburgh.
I agree, but who's brought Pitt to that level, to the level that he has in the last?
In the 80s, it happened. Jackie Sherrill, right?
I don't.
Fucking knowledge, buddy. Right? Let's go.
I have no idea. What did Pitt do? I mean, what, Dan Marino and fucking Tony Dorsett back in the day? Yeah, I guess those dudes are in the Pittsburgh area, for recruiting. I don't know if the Pittsburgh area is producing the talent that it used to. Either way, last 2 years prior to this year, 11-3, 9-4, and then he has a clunker.
I'm not saying he definitely deserves to be fired, but if I'm a Pitt alum, am I happy thinking next year we have Pat Narduzzi back? Because really, the best teams he had with Mark Whipple.
It's true. Well, here's the thing about Pat Narduzzi, though, and I guess these guys, I don't know if they're a dime a dozen, but they can be found. He has the Pitt DNA. He's gonna play defense. He's gonna
not today
have poor. Yeah. Again, it was his offense that was responsible for at least 21 of those points directly. Remaining games for Pitt, Florida State, Syracuse, and at Yankee Stadium. Boston College and Duke, they probably lose all 4 of those, if not 1 and 3, probably at best. 3 and 9. That might be grounds for firing, but I think you give them another year.
But do you think their alumni are excited about that?
No,
because I think they're probably sick of going 7-6
at a certain point.
I mean?
Yeah, you probably want to show the promise of something more. But who's out there? Who's going to do a better job? If you have a home run hire that you can get, if you can go get Urban Meyer, yes, you fire Pat Narduzzi, you get Urban Meyer. If not, if you're going to get Al Golden,
I mean, nice performance today.
Nice performance. Yeah. I guess if on a one week fucking resume, yeah, you take Al Golden. But
yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying. Okay, well, let's stay talking ACC. I'm going to do the format a little differently here. We're going conference by conference.
Okay.
Here. Clemson loses to NC State. I was on NC State with the 10 points. They're 4-4. Are we ready to talk about Clemson potentially missing a bowl game?
That would be wild. They have certainly slipped, 24-17 loss to NC State.
I mean, their best win is Wake Forest, which they almost lost that game. They had a 4th and goal. So they won 17-12 against Wake. Their upcoming schedule: home to Notre Dame next week,
loss.
Home to Georgia Tech,
Questionable.
Home to North Carolina,
loss probably.
At South Carolina,
maybe a win. 2-2,
6-6,
6-6. A tough year for old Dabo.
You're in the
with consecutive losses to NC State.
You go 6-6. Maybe you win the bowl game. You win the I don't know. Is that? I mean, he's got room. He won a lot of national championships there, right? I saw people tweeting that he's got to be on the hot seat. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He's got room.
The Clemson expectations they can't be what Alabama's expect. Even Alabama had down years before fucking Saban got there, but most of the Alabama coaches that have been through there, or several of them, fucking Bryant, Stallings, obviously Saban, 50-50 shot you're going to win a national championship as a Alabama coach. Not the case with Clemson. He's by far their best coach ever. Do you just fucking can that dude for having a bad year?
No, you can't.
Yeah.
However, you got to wonder if he uses the portal.
Yeah. Maybe that becomes a reality. Again, I'm of the opinion that it can be done. I think Air Force, because they can't use the portal, is clear evidence that you don't need to use the portal.
I mean, I think a lot of teams should be running the option like Air Force if they wanted to win more games, but clearly they care more about their image. Oh, they don't want to be known as the team that runs the ball.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll enjoy fucking 3-9 every year.
Right.
Other games in the ACC, Patty C, we had the Miami Hurricanes beat the Wahoos. Oh my fucking God, Miami was lucky today.
That was a good game.
UVA dropped an interception that would have fucking won the game.
Well, it would have put Miami in a lot of pressure because UVA was up 3 with 3 minutes left. They dropped an interception. UVA stopped moving the fucking ball. So maybe Miami gets the ball back and kicks a field goal, sends it to overtime. But either way, that would have made it a lot harder. Instead, Miami gets a field goal right there. The game goes straight to overtime. Mario Cristobal downs the ball with, 30, 40 seconds left in the game. Again. So
it worked out for him though in overtime.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks in a row.
All right. Miami is 6-2. Talk about a
counterfeit 6-2.
Dude, who was their best win? It's the Clemson win, but they're 4-4. They don't have a win against a team with a winning record. Oh no, A&M.
That's a good win.
Yeah,
that's a good win.
A&M.
Miami's a fucking hard team to figure.
Hold on, I want you to forecast Miami's final schedules or final record. 6-2 right now. They're at NC State next week.
50-50.
At Florida State. No, it's a look ahead. They're going to lose the state because they're thinking about Florida State next week.
They could.
Dude, their remaining schedule at NC State, at Florida State, home to Louisville, at Boston College.
I give them like 1.5 wins there. Maybe 2. Maybe I give them 2-2.
Hey, 8-4. Would that be a big time year?
I think the folks in Miami still would be asleep, but
I don't know. Another ACC game that happened was Georgia Tech. Noah, we're gonna need to clip this because 2 weeks ago Carolina was red hot, and they were loading up to play
undefeated. Yeah, top 10.
If we go back on I think it was our picks episode for what is that? Week 8, probably heading into week 8. I said, oh, they got through all this, but now they play Virginia and Georgia Tech. And Patty C was saying Virginia's going to win on the money line. I said Virginia will give them a tough time because that game always happens to be a tough time. But I was like, Georgia Tech will get them because they get them every fucking year. Well, it happened again. The Yellow Jackets beat North Carolina 46-42. And I mean, the Yellow Jackets are 4-4 now, man. They have a win over Miami.
Yeah.
What the hell is this Georgia Tech team?
The Brent 3-letter last names in the ACC at the various techs are doing a good job. Brent Pry and Brent Key.
Wait, do they have the same
around.
record as Miami in conference, and they have the tiebreaker?
Georgia Tech,
yeah.
Georgia Tech, a player. Sad state of affairs.
They might go bowling. Can they go bowling? They are at Virginia next week.
They could win that.
At Clemson the following week.
Potentially.
Home to Syracuse.
Win.
And then home to Georgia.
Can't say that's definitely a win.
Dude, if they beat Virginia, Clemson, and Syracuse, they could end up in the fucking ACC champ.
Fucking hilarious.
I know I'm painting a picture for everybody.
Football.
Yeah. Okay. Florida State looked great against Wake. We touched on that. Syracuse looked like ass on Thursday night. We were on Virginia Tech. I think that does it for the Atlantic Coast Conference. So right now, I think it's Florida State and Louisville in the ACC championship. What do you think?
Yeah, that looks like what it'll be. I would assume so.
Yeah.
Obviously, Virginia Tech, Louisville, massive next week.
Look, folks, I want to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, MLB, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use the promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. All right, we are back. Still on the A side of things here. Shall we jump over? Name the conference, Patty C, that we should talk about next.
We're going through them all. Yeah, sorry. Alphabetically. Well, you want to do Power 5 and then work our way down to
Sure. We did ACC.
We kind of did Big 12.
We did Big 12.
Yeah. Big 10.
The Big 10. Northwestern 33, Maryland 27. Northwestern's 4-4. Like, can we talk about the Big 10 West race for a second?
Yeah.
I think this is highly entertaining.
I'm sure you're ready to point out your preseason prognostication here.
Well, my preseason pick was Iowa. Iowa.
I thought you had taken Nebraska.
No. Just 2 weeks ago, I was saying, and you guys went crazy with it. I was just saying, like, guys, Nebraska could easily win the Big 10 here, or the Big 10 West. So now they're in a spot where they're tied. All they need is Minnesota to lose. Remember, Minnesota beat them somehow, some way, week 1 on Thursday night, 13-10, as it looked like Nebraska had that game won. But now, so the Big 10 West, you have Minnesota 3-2 in conference, Iowa 3-2 in conference, Wisconsin 3-2 in conference, Nebraska 3-2 in conference, and Northwestern still alive at 2-3 in conference. Patty C, who would you pick? I think it's Iowa. That's the best of them.
Here's the thing. Nebraska gets Iowa at home on the last game of the season. That could finally deliver that rivalry a defining moment in terms of a berth for the winner in the Big Ten championship game. However, who the fuck knows is the real answer, of course.
Who has the easiest? So Northwestern needs help. The other ones are somewhat in control. I think Nebraska might need a little help, but let Nebraska's remaining schedule is at Michigan State next week.
Yeah. Tough. Okay. Losable, winnable.
Is that tough?
Not tough, but
2-6.
Yeah. Road spot. Yeah.
Followed by a home game against Maryland. They will beat Maryland, I bet you.
Probably at home. Yes.
At Wisconsin.
I think they might be able to get them.
Home to Iowa.
They could win. Nebraska very much in play.
Okay. Iowa's remaining schedule.
Yeah.
I think this one's the easiest, which I'm hoping for my future sake. At Northwestern at Wrigley Field. Shout out to that old school college football stomping ground.
Gotta like that. If you're gonna do a neutral site, make it a cool one.
Yeah. Home to Rutgers.
Not a fucking dome. Home to Rutgers. Tough. Boy, that game's gonna be a snooze fest.
I'm excited for it. Home to Illinois, then at Nebraska.
Iowa's winning the Big Ten West.
I think they have the easiest route, but hold on, hold on here. Let's take a look now at Wisconsin's remaining schedule, because Wisconsin
looked decent against Ohio State today, and you mentioned that the backup quarterback,
it looks better than to me the starter,
despite their
the SMU transfer.
10 point output today, was it?
Well, it's just last week when I lost money on Illinois. Illinois had Wisconsin beat, and this Rocky Balboa backup quarterback there. Why am I drawing a blank on his fucking name right now? He's a transfer from Mississippi State.
I forget his name too.
Locke? Is it Locke?
Locke, I think you're right. Yeah.
So their remaining schedule at Indiana next week.
They should win that. Although Indiana's pretty fucking good. They played Penn State tough. In fact, Penn State kind of dressed that up. That was a fucking game was.
Penn State sucks.
Penn State does suck, and Drew Aller sucks.
Penn State. I mean, they got very lucky to win that game today.
Mm-hmm.
They were playing with their fucking food.
Indiana has kind of given Ohio State a little bit of a challenge, given Louisville a little bit of a challenge, given Penn State a little challenge. They're a team that has a losing record that's better than
they also barely beat Akron though. Needed overtime to beat Akron. They're a hard team to understand.
Yeah.
But at Indiana next week, then home to Northwestern, home to Nebraska, at Minnesota. I got no idea. I got no fucking idea. Minnesota's still alive. Minnesota might be
to Iowa though, so they need Iowa. To lose.
And Minnesota has the tiebreaker on Iowa.
Minnesota has
Illinois at home in Minneapolis next week.
Winnable.
At Purdue.
Winnable.
At Ohio State.
They're out.
Well, 3 could still get you with the tiebreaker. If it's them in Iowa with 3.
Yeah, and Wisconsin loses another. This would be so Big Ten West.
Let's shift to Penn
Who's
State.
your prediction?
Iowa. I think Iowa's still
at this.
Yeah. Okay, now let's switch over to Penn State, because I mean Penn State's going to go 10-2, but can you really trust them at 10-2?
There's no way they beat Michigan in the whiteout, right?
They could lose at Maryland.
They could lose at
Michigan State.
Yeah, Detroit.
I don't know, man. Michigan State's team's quitting on them, man. I wish they were at Rutgers, because I think Rutgers could maybe get them, but it's home to Rutgers.
Now I got to see what Michigan State's done lately, because I feel like Michigan State's been playing okay, right?
No, they're 2-6. They're terrible.
They lost bad. Okay, the last couple weeks. I think it was the at Rutgers game that. Man, they've had a tough little slate here.
Well, they got that nice win against Richmond in Central Michigan. It's their resume right there. I don't know. I feel like
they have a hard ass schedule. Holy shit, Michigan State. Fucking Washington, Iowa, Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, all on their fucking schedule.
Yeah, it's tough. So, how do you see right now? Do you think Michigan's going to beat Ohio State despite all this distractions?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Michigan had a bye week. I'm sure they're very happy about that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's jump on over to Big Ten. So right now, Iowa, Michigan is what you have in that filthy game in Indianapolis, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And unless Michigan slips up against Penn State, and then whatever fucking tiebreaker happens, but who knows? Yes, I have Michigan. Yes, Michigan, Iowa.
Any other Big Ten? I mean, Ohio State was impressive. Marvin Harrison, every time they needed to do something, they got it done. But I still question that offense because it's not like It's not like Wisconsin's defense has been fire this year.
Yeah. If you guys want to, if you younger guys don't know like what watching Jerry Rice was like, watch Marvin Harrison.
Yeah,
it's just like he may not be running a 4.2, right? But he is always getting open and he's always like getting a first down, and you can just rely on him fucking winning the game for you essentially.
Okay. I think we've covered the Big Ten, right? There wasn't. Oh no. Let's talk about Nebraska putting it on Purdue. Matt Rule, Patty C.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna be bowling. They're 5-3, and they have Michigan State on deck, Maryland, Wisconsin, Iowa. So I mean, like worst comes to worst, all they got to do is win one game. They're gonna be bowling. That's a good first year for Matt Rule.
Yeah, dude. They have to be so happy with the fact that this program, is competitive week to week and isn't shitting the bed. Yeah, it doesn't kill itself. Right.
Yeah. So Michigan, Iowa would be our projection. Unbelievable.
That's like last year, right?
But I had that. That was what I guessed. That's why I find these conferences so boring.
Yeah.
It's like, well, do you see my point though? On like, they give credit to strength of schedule. Like Rutgers is 6-2. Do we really believe Rutgers is a good football team? Because I don't. I think they're a good defense, right?
Yeah.
They have to play the other shitty Big Ten teams. There's so many shitty Big Ten teams. Someone's record gets propped up because you have to win these games.
Yeah, I would say below. Like you're right. Those three, you're gonna have a pretty big drop off.
Like, let me ask you this: like, so besides Cincinnati, who do you think the second worst team is? I think in the Big 12 right now, what ranking wise, it would either be Houston or UCF, right?
Yeah. Well, didn't Iowa State play Iowa? What happened in that game?
Iowa did win that game.
Iowa won that game.
Yeah.
So maybe we got to give the Big Ten a little more credit.
See, but I think Iowa State is much better each and every week because of how young through those suspensions. That's why I think I understand that game happened,
yes,
and you gotta take that game into factor.
20-13.
But
still.
I would love for Iowa State to play now against Iowa as opposed to then. Yeah. Another thing is Iowa's lost their Lachey, their All-American tight end, Eric All, their All-American tight end, McNamara's. They're all out for the year.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean Iowa State, aside from the Northern Iowa FCS game, they lost 3 of their first 4, including against G5 MAC team in Ohio. Meanwhile, in their last 3 games, I win against TCU by 13, I win against Cincinnati by 20, and I win against Baylor by 12.
They're figuring it out. That's what I'm saying. They're a much better team. It's like 2 different teams from week 2 to now.
Iowa's probably middle of the pack. But I guess based on their conference record,
with Deacon Hill, you would though, because like when they had the tight ends healthy and McNamara, I'm with you.
Yeah, McNamara.
With Deacon Hill and those tight ends that were studs gone.
Yeah,
I kind of think
as far as those 2 teams playing today, if Iowa State only lost to them by 7 at the beginning of the year when Iowa State was coming off a million suspensions and
starting brand new players, and
Iowa had McNamara versus now Deacon Hill, and then Iowa State having figured it out, I bet Iowa State might win that game now.
I think I would take them.
Now, granted, that one was in Ames.
Yeah.
So
no, and Iowa dominated. I mean, shit, I won money on that. I took Iowa.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like.
But Iowa, we're saying, is probably the 4th best team in the Big Ten.
I definitely think that would be
Iowa
my vote.
State is probably like the 6th or 7th best team in the Big 12. However, I would say Iowa is certainly, a level above most of the rest of the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Wisconsin would be next, probably. And they beat Wisconsin by 9.
D. Bettis says Penn State would easily win the Big 12. I completely disagree. I think the Penn State Drew Aller sucks.
Texas
he sucks. He's even worse than Clifford.
Penn State over and rape them for 3 straight hours. I'm sorry, I don't want to hashtag whatever that, but come on, that is what would happen.
Dude, I think like Penn State against any of these. I'm not sold. I am not sold. What does Penn State beat West Virginia? And even that, they dressed up that score. If you play that game in Morgantown, I would favor Penn State, but not by much.
Yeah.
Not by much.
Yeah. West Virginia though.
They beat them by like 20, but they scored with 5 seconds left. It was really like a 2-possession game. But that's part of that was fucking State College. You play that in Morgantown. That's going to be like like I'd favor Penn State by like 3 or 4.
All right, Penn State or Big 10 and Big 12 rank the teams. Number one.
Well, right now,
Michigan.
Oklahoma, and Oklahoma would be 1 still right now
over Michigan.
No, in the Big 12.
No, put them together. Put those two conferences together and rank your teams.
Well, so Michigan versus Oklahoma, you're saying?
Well, just know who's the number one team between those 20, 30 teams that are in both the Big 12 and the Big 10. Who's the best team?
Oh, I got you.
Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan.
Then
Ohio State.
Then
Texas
over Oklahoma.
And Texas with the injuries, no.
Okay. I would take Oklahoma then Texas.
Yeah,
but that's close.
I think Oklahoma's counterfeit, man.
Flip a coin,
really feel like they
maybe,
got up for that one game, but week in, week out, they've been
7-1.
No, but they didn't play anybody, man.
Okay, maybe I'll give you Texas.
They didn't play anybody.
I'll give you Texas over Oklahoma. Oklahoma or Penn State? Flip a coin.
It depends where that's at. No, neutral. I think I take Penn State.
I don't know if I agree with you.
I think I take Penn State.
Oklahoma's a decent defense.
I think
Penn State has a bad.
I don't think their defense is good.
Let me tell you how bad Penn State's offense is. Again, I'm going to cite my statistic here of yardage differential. Offense versus defensive. This is going to surprise some people out there. Coming into today, Penn State actually had a negative yardage differential despite having the best fucking defense in the country. That's how bad their offense has been yardage wise.
Can I just build a little bit of a case though on? I was on Kansas money line because, and by the way, Kansas with Jason Bean, their backup quarterback, did have 443 yards of offense against Oklahoma today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Part of my belief of why Oklahoma's counterfeit is I don't think their defense is good. I think Iowa State's offense hasn't been very good.
Yeah.
I thought UCF actually kind of did a good job moving the ball against.
Well, UCF has like a top 5 yardage wise offense.
Fair, but to me, rate these offenses. Arkansas State. With their original quarterback,
bad,
really bad. They played Tulsa with the backup quarterback,
bad.
Cincinnati,
better than you would think.
Cincinnati's offense, what they put up
yardage wise.
Oh,
yeah,
okay, but still not. And then Iowa State and SMU. SMU is the best offense they faced, but once again, I don't think they're a good offense. It's just who they played. Yeah, I think Penn State would beat Oklahoma.
I don't think Oklahoma's lights out defense. Either way, since I take Oklahoma and you take Penn State there, but it's a toss up. We'll call it.
But after this,
yeah, let's go. Let's take the rest of them.
So right now, Kansas State against Iowa, I would take Kansas State and I would lay it
at this point in the season. Yes, I would take.
I think at any point in the season, even last year. Kansas State's a better team than Iowa because they play hard-nosed defense in Iowa vein.
And they can actually move the ball.
Yeah. So then after that, you got Maryland no, it's Rutgers, right? Rutgers has only 2 losses.
Rutgers, Wisconsin.
No, they have 3, right?
Wisconsin's better than fucking Rutgers.
Okay.
Quality of team here. Versus the likes of Oklahoma State and Iowa State at Kansas.
I mean, I'll take Kansas to beat. Yeah. I mean, Kansas, yeah.
Kansas over Wisconsin?
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Okay. Then probably Wisconsin. What about Wisconsin, Oklahoma State?
Right now, Oklahoma State, early in the year, I might have took Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
West Virginia, Wisconsin.
West Virginia.
Maybe. Yeah. TCU, Wisconsin.
Right now, I think I'd take Wisconsin because of the injuries to TCU, but
okay.
I don't know. That's a good game.
Yeah. And then we say like what? Who's after Wisconsin? We got Rutgers. We got Wisconsin. We got
Maryland,
Nebraska, Maryland.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think you're right. I think in the middle of the pack, and all the way to the bottom, the Big 12 is considered.
Dude, I think Nebraska playing any of those teams in the Big 12,
in the Big 10 rather.
No, Nebraska playing any like Nebraska.
Nebraska's looking better. We're fucking going on and on.
They would get housed in the Big 12. They don't have the offense to stay in those games. Anyway,
let's keep going.
All right, look, that's done with side A. Stick around if you're on YouTube. Stick around for side B. Just stay put real quick. This is the college football experience. All right. right, we are back on the B side.
Let's rattle. Let's go.
All right. Next up, we go to the Pac-12. Ooh, Pac-12 right now. Currently, we have a barn burner going on in Tucson with Oregon State up 17-13 in the fourth quarter. I knew Arizona. I took Arizona actually, despite my future for Oregon State.
Oregon State's lack of explosive offense, a bit of a concern against a team like Arizona. 17-13, like you said, though, in control. But
questionable fake field goal by Oregon State right before the half. That could have this game at 20-13. You wonder if that will cost them
enough one possession games, and you're going to find yourself in trouble, especially against an explosive team.
We need to talk about
Washington counterfeit. USC exposed.
USC is the most counterfeit.
Yeah, and yet they could still win this conference. They escaped.
USC 50, Cal 49. Cal did everything possible to lose this game. This is not USC winning the game.
Yeah.
Cal fumbled twice. They're up like 14 points in the fourth quarter. They fumbled twice inside their own 40-yard line, up 14. They're in the spot to win the fucking game.
Justin Wilcox has to be sick to his fucking stomach with how this year has worked out. They should have wins over Auburn and USC.
Yeah. I mean, this one, if you're a Cal fan, you want to vomit, because I really feel like anyone that watched that game, USC was not the better team today.
Yeah. You called it Wilcox being a defensive coach. The 2-point conversion might not have been a good call. He doesn't have a play to run on the goal line. It's going to get him the dub.
Actually, I think the play would have been better if they just, because originally they lined up, then they called timeout.
Yeah.
When you go to sit there and think about it, nah.
Yeah.
It's over. You lost.
Pull the trigger. Go.
You got to go with the rhythm that you have.
Yeah.
I would have ran the ball too, because USC's run defense is trash. They're alive though. They're alive somehow, some way.
However, when do they play Oregon?
Well, next week we get Washington at USC. Washington beat Stanford 42-33.
I think USC could win that game.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, that game's going to be fucking. I don't want to watch the defenses.
In fact, I think USC. I can't. I think USC will win that game because Stanford is so bad, and yet they gave Washington
something
a hell
doesn't
of a game.
smell right in LA though, dude.
Yeah.
Like today, they didn't look good either.
Yeah, they
haven't looked good in like 6 weeks. I have to lean Washington, even though I think they could be like. Is USC capable of 100%?
Yeah, the mojo is gone though in LA. Like Caleb Williams is still like a playmaker and phenomenal, but like as far as like the absolute confidence that they used to walk around with, it seemed like now it's like they're fighting for their life.
I would still favor Washington at USC right now.
Yeah. Okay. So I can't argue with that really.
Washington then plays home to Utah. Utah could probably beat them because
Oregon is better at than Utah, what they do, which is
especially with this quarterback.
Yeah.
Like Barnes is a true handicap.
Yeah. They basically bashed on each other, but Oregon had a much better quarterback to.
You know who Barnes is? Who was that quarterback for Northern Illinois when they made it to the Orange Bowl and they played Florida State and got their ship? Jordan Lynch. That's who Barnes is. He's like a shitty Jordan Lynch. Every pass, you're just sitting there like, right? And but he can still kind of athletic. He can run.
Yeah.
So he's a gamer.
Just a fucking bro with the iron head.
They're not going to be good enough the Utah's not going to get there. They're not going to get there because they're not going to be good enough. But
I mean, Oregon pounded them today. Oregon is awesome.
Oregon is like Utah, but they have a quarterback right now. If Cam Rising's there, I feel very good about it.
That game would have been way closer.
Yeah. But Utah's had a huge handicap. We saw it in the UCLA game.
Yeah.
I mean, Washington's remaining schedule at USC, home to Utah, at Oregon State, home to Washington State, and perhaps the final.
They might lose all 4 of those.
Oh man. So, okay. What? Cause I think the Washington one wasn't as bad as USC Cal, even though I know Stanford,
I agree.
That was pretty bad though. Folks, if you didn't watch the Washington game,
Cal's a better team than Stanford though.
Washington won by 9, but Stanford had the ball and a trick play dialed up on 4th and what was that? 4th. It was a perfect play. And actually the receiver drops it, but the pass was a little low. Still should have caught it. But if if done perfect, this is like a 60-yard pass down to like the 10-yard line.
The game's over. Yeah. Stanford wins if they don't fuck up. But that's why they're losers. And that's why they're going to the ACC because that's the kind
the ACC's like, wait, you don't You got people protesting your fucking games, right?
Wait, that was the cow game.
Yeah, that was the cow game.
Same
Yeah,
difference.
yeah. Right, you got people sitting on the 50-yard line.
Mhm.
All right, this is perfect for our conference. I like your empty seats.
That's
We
right.
like empty seats. We find that very good, very photogenic.
That's right.
And
UVA.
yeah.
Yeah, let's not go there. But anyway,
okay, so Oregon beat the piss out of Utah. Look, that's a great win because you won to Rice. They hadn't lost at Rice Eccles since 2018. I understand if Dante Moore doesn't throw that pick six, that maybe UCLA beats Utah there because it was 14-7 the final score. Dante Moore threw a pick six on like the first play of the game. So I do understand that like Utah is not the past 2 years Utah because Cam Rising's a very good college football quarterback.
yeah.
And they're at a gigantic handicap, but still Oregon, great win. Anytime you go on the road to a hostile environment and win, unbelievable. And dominating fashion. Arizona just took the lead on Oregon State 20-17.
Huge. Such a live dog. I think Oregon is potentially maybe the best team in the country. They're right there. They're right there. They can hang with Michigan. They can hang with Georgia in a 1-game setting or in a playoff set, a 14 playoff setting. Oregon. Dude, they probably should have beaten Washington.
They should have lost to Texas Tech, I thought.
They fought against Texas. That game was close.
Texas Tech was up like I think 3 scores or 2 scores late third.
Maybe. But yeah, I mean, Oregon's not flawless. You know, they can get caught. Clearly, they can shoot themselves in the foot against Washington. Clearly,
now Oregon. Who do they get? I mean, great win today, by the way. But okay, so you think Oregon right now?
I think they're emerging to me after today as like can't really treat them as like a counter.
So they're 7-1. They are home to Cal next week. Should be 8-1. Home to USC. You're right. At Arizona State, who's is chippier.
They should be
and home to Oregon State.
Oregon will be in the Pac-12.
Oregon State could get them.
Oregon State could get them.
Yeah, but I think you're right. I think you're right. I think they're going to be in it.
It's just a matter if they lose another one along the way.
What else we got in the Pac-12? Colorado 16, UCLA 28. This fucking game. Okay. UCLA was going to beat Colorado. I think any day they played, but Shiloh Sanders getting ejected for.
This is what we need. Deion Sanders mentioned it at halftime. I think, you know, he restrained himself well enough not to be like, LeVar Ball, you know, my sons deserve preferential treatment, but he did point out how big of a bullshit call it was, or that it was a bullshit call.
I can't believe they confirmed that.
Yeah, so stupid.
That's just a normal play.
It's a great play. It's phenomenal defense.
What are you supposed to do anymore? We've ruined the sport.
He hits him with his shoulder.
When are we going to get out of this
in
rut?
the other guy's chest?
I don't understand. Who's in charge? This is the beginning of the episode.
Incidental helmet-to-helmet contact is not leading with the crown of your head into the head and neck area of the other person. Stop being so soft.
Can anyone out there find anybody who makes these rules? Because I would like to write them every single day of my life. I shit you not, because look, Colorado wouldn't have won even if they had Shiloh. But one of the things I do know is Colorado does not have depth. And when you take out one of their best players, it does really hurt their team. They wouldn't have won regardless. But the call is so bad. The call sets
you really
back.
have to like put your shoulder in his belly button. That's the only way you can make a safe tackle, especially if you're going to make a hard hit on, I guess defenseless receiver. Can you even hit a defenseless receiver?
He wasn't even defenseless. He had the fucking ball. He was turning up the field. What are you supposed to do? Just let him get.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we doing to the sport?
He stop being defenseless once he's like ready to knock you?
He took like 4 steps after he caught the fucking ball. It's just unbelievable. It's just, I just don't understand what we're doing to the sport.
We're fucking it up. The game sucks.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Like who, and the fucking coward announcers, Herb Street and Fowler.
Herb Street's
they don't even address it. They don't even fucking address it.
Herb Street is
they should be
ultimate corporate shill.
It's like, say something about how bad this is. No, I led with the crown. Shut the fuck up.
Mhm.
God.
Always confirm the referee's decision. Yep, that's correct. That was the right call.
The worst was Brock Horde in the late hit on Kansas today.
Always a fucking quarterback.
Yeah. No more. Hey, can we have a rule? No quarterbacks should announce any
All
game.
fullbacks. Let's have fucking Lorenzo Neal. Let's have Merrill Hodge.
That's probably the core of this fucking whole problem. Is we gave way too much power to the quarterback, and then behind a microphone, it just turned into a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
Arizona State beat Washington State 38-27. Nice win. First win against an FBS team for Kenny Dillingham. They've been fighting hard for him, man. I was on the wrong side of this. I took Washington State.
Well, of course you would think you would take Washington State, but like you said, Arizona State not accepting their fate as losers, continuing to fight.
Playing better and better, man.
Yeah.
I know Rob, you're in the chat saying Herb Street said it was bullshit. I thought Herb Street said the intentional grounding was bullshit. I don't think he said the hit was, right?
I don't know. Maybe we're full of shit. I feel like
no, because I was sitting there watching it, saying, why are they not speaking up on behalf of it more? Like if it was me, I'd be like, what are we doing here? Why don't they question it?
Right.
They even have that little like in-house guy, the Dean Blandino 2.0.
Yeah. I thought I heard that too. I thought I heard it's the right hit. It's the right call. But maybe I'm full of shit. Maybe I was mistaking it for another call.
I swear that either way, they still should be questioning it more. They're not outraged.
Yeah.
How are you not outraged? How anybody could ever play football and not see that and not be outraged?
Like Kirk Herbstreit, you played in the 90s. Like that would have been like undisputedly like a clean and great hit. Like what have we done to the game?
So right now your Pac-12 championship, you think it's Washington and Oregon again? Especially if Oregon State loses.
I guess I don't think Washington. I think Washington's very, very.
You think it's USC
suspect.
Oregon again?
I have no idea. USC sucks too. It's Oregon and someone. It might be Utah. Oregon and flip a coin. I guess you got to say Oregon, Washington rematch.
Well, Washington has the tiebreaker on Oregon. Washington still hasn't lost.
Yeah, I guess on that alone, you have to say Washington, Oregon rematch in the Pac-12.
Which could.
Although Oregon State, an interesting case here. We'll see if
especially if they can get out of this. Currently down 3, 8 minutes left. Let's move over to the SEC. This is like the Big Ten.
Yeah.
I lost money on Kentucky. Shout out to Tennessee, GBO Farms and company. I'm sure are happy that Tennessee won 33-27. I thought Kentucky would cover that. I thought they would win it outright. Not the case. Kentucky's a lot like Maryland.
Yeah, absolutely counterfeit non-conference slate.
Mississippi State. We killed it on the Auburn pick. Auburn -6. Easy play. 27-13 final. It wasn't even that close. Ole Miss bodies Vanderbilt. That game sucked ass. 33-7. And Georgia, they got down 7-0. And I thought, hey, could we have something?
I know. Georgia's good. Georgia's fucking.
Yeah. I mean,
they're
look,
legit.
They dominate. They dominated that game.
Yeah. Again, I'm going to cite the statistic yardage differential per game. Georgia by far the number 1 team in the country. I want to say Oregon maybe number 2, but Georgia's like 256 yardage differential. Oregon at like 240, and then after that it drops to like 199 or something.
Can I ask you a serious question though?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you pull up the offensive numbers? Like for the top 130 offenses in the country?
Sure.
Just like the Michigan thing, I want to see here. Where is Ball State?
Oh boy. Give me 1 second. But Ball State in terms, are we talking total yardage or points?
Yardage.
Okay. Ball State is sitting there at 127.
Where is South Carolina? They might be.
South Carolina is number 71.
UAB.
Middle of the pack.
Where's UAB?
UAB is, let's get that. They're at number 39. UAB was one of the ones that had one of the biggest yardage differentials.
That's crazy that they're 39. I would not have bet that.
They're in like the top 10 in terms of yardage differential, and they're
because they get blown out every week. They get blown out every week, so they can pick up all these garbage yards.
You think is that it?
They're 2-6. They get their ass whooped every week.
Yeah.
Okay. Then.
But you would still think if you're getting your ass whipped, you would have a negative yardage differential. Let me pull up my fucking sheet here.
Auburn. Give me Auburn's offense.
Auburn's offense is
Rob got this in the chat.
103.
Let's see. So Kirk said he was leading with the shoulder. I know the new rules have changed after replay. He didn't hit him with the head or lead with the crown.
All right. Herbie,
still didn't say enough though. I'm not satisfied. I'm not satisfied of like, okay. I mean, you're right in that he said that, but I'm saying like, I would be like, what are we doing here? What are we really going to throw this guy out of the game? What is his job to do? Like, to me, he lets it go a little bit. He's just like makes a little comment. How can you have so much passion about other shit where he can make a point about it?
Yeah. And
he's not making a point of it there. What is Kentucky's offense, Patty C?
Kentucky.
See, this offense might be decent because of the shitty non-con they had.
They have the 93 offense in the nation.
What is Vanderbilt?
Vandy is, this is all coming into this week, by the way, 96.
Florida.
If I could type. They are 46.
So the best offense they play was Florida. Okay. I mean, UAB technically, but that
this is Georgia we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean it's almost like Michigan's. They haven't played any good offenses.
Well, we knew that. Here we go. I'm gonna rattle off these yardage differential. It was okay. Georgia won at 246. Ole Miss surprisingly dominant in that category, 239. Michigan won 194. Oregon State 181, and then UCF, who's sitting at 305, was at 181. You know what it was? I actually looked at that to see if UCF was, losing games in which they dominated the yardage possession. They did not. They lose all the games that they lose the yardage possession, maybe with the exception of today. I think they just whooped the shit out of some teams early on and like ran up their yardage.
I mean, I believe Georgia's good. I mean, I would like to see a little more test. They were supposed to play Oklahoma in week 2 and we canceled that. That would be pretty cool if we could have saw that.
Yeah.
We didn't see LSU or Bama. They play next week. They're on bye. A&M beat South Carolina. South Carolina covered. That was a Dundee lock this morning. A&M goes to 5-3. Wasn't an amazing win, but I mean, a win is a win. Well, 5-3. I'm on the over. I have over 8 wins with A&M, and the sweat is going to be real. If they can beat Ole Miss next week, they'll be 6-3. They're home to Mississippi State 7-3, home to Abilene Christian 8-3, and then at LSU. I'm not going to make any money.
Ole Miss is sitting there at a quiet ass 7-1 right now.
I think they're counterfeit.
You have to think
they're Oklahoma, dude. Yeah. They are the same team as Oklahoma,
but they're alive. Wait, have they played Auburn or LSU yet?
They beat LSU.
So if LSU beats Bama, then Ole Miss is going to the SEC championship game. Is that what next week? Is that what we're getting here?
Well, Ole Miss still has to win at A&M, or no, at home against A&M. Ole Miss remaining schedule: home to A&M, at Georgia.
Okay, that's where it all comes crumbling down.
Then home to ULM. Love, never fade Bowden in a big game. And then at Mississippi State Egg Bowl Thanksgiving.
Well, if they can get by A&M, they still might. But here's the thing: Alabama's not going to lose 2 more times in conference. We might have a 3-way tie in the SEC West. LSU with 2 losses, Ole Miss with 2 losses, and Alabama with 2 losses.
Yeah. So right now, what's your SEC championship game?
Alabama, Georgia.
Really?
Actually,
mine's LSU.
I think LSU
Georgia.
is going to beat Alabama.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess Alabama, but I think LSU is going to lose again. So I think Alabama, Georgia.
LSU will probably lose to A&M.
Yeah. I think that's the type of team LSU is. Not that Alabama and A&M are such different teams.
But the fact they get A&M the final game of the season, there is a chance Jimbo Fisher could be fired by then, and then LSU I think would win.
Yeah. Flip a coin between Alabama and LSU, I think, but certainly Georgia.
All right, let's talk about the AAC. We saw SMU win 69-10 over Tulsa. Memphis did not cover for me. I added that as a late lock. They blew a 31-10 lead and almost lost the game outright. North Texas. I knew this game. I knew this game smelled. Remember on Wednesday's show, I said this game smells. The line makes no sense, but yet I was reluctant. I said I'm still gonna put $50 on Memphis. Sure enough, it doesn't hit.
Chandler Rogers, leading pass for the day, 411 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Do they just throw the ball in Texas? That's what they do. By the way, Frank Harris, number 2 in the passing for the day. So yes, that is the answer. They just throw the ball in Texas.
East Carolina covered against UTSA.
Flex it any way you can. Right. If you're not going to get the outright W, play the music for the cover.
I locked up the Rice Owls. I bet the hell out of the Rice Owls plus 10. Or what was it? Yeah, it was 10, I think, right? It was 10, right?
I don't know. Rice,
I won money. I don't remember. I think it was 10. Rice almost won the fucking game. It was 30-28, the final score.
Yeah. Although Tulane was kind of dominating them, Rice closed the gap, but they did get the cover. Almost won.
I mean, Rice made it a game by the fourth quarter. That was a game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So Florida Atlantic beat Charlotte on Friday. Patty C, it's gonna be the standings here in the beautiful American Athletic Conference are Tulane in first place and SMU. SMU is going to get there because they played. I knew this back in the preseason. Their schedule in the conference is awesome. So SMU and Tulane will play, I think, when it's all said and done. In the
what about
AAC
UTSA, because they are undefeated within the conference as well. I want to see the remaining.
They don't play each other though.
UTSA's remaining conference slate has North Texas, Rice, USF, and Tulane. So
at Tulane too
on Thanksgiving weekend at Tulane will probably be a first spot in the ACC or AAC championship. Meanwhile, like you mentioned, who is it? SMU. They've probably already punched their ticket. I got to check their schedule.
Their remaining schedule at Rice next week. That's dangerous.
That is dangerous. Yeah.
Home to North Texas.
A little bit dangerous.
At Memphis.
Dangerous.
Home to Navy. That
we'll see. That could
Texas
be it,
schools again.
They get fucked up by Navy. Navy's still running the triple option, right?
A little bit.
Yeah.
No, I'd say they still are.
Yeah.
It's just not as much.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Isn't that funny? The furthest from the thing that should stay on the ground. Army is a ground-based attack. It should be in the ground.
Yeah.
Navy's in the fucking water, but they're partially like doing a ground-based attack. Air Force is all the way up in the sky, but they're staying on the ground.
Getting it done. Let me ask you something. Do you think Army will change that offense next year and realize with seeing Air Force's success? You think Monken will realize that he fucked up?
He better get
rid of the OC because he brought in an OC from Nebraska, Kearney or whatever the fuck, Kearney, and it hasn't been working.
Yeah. Well, that'd be tough to fire the guy after 1 year, but if you want to keep your job, Monken, maybe you have to pull the trigger, you know?
Arizona inside the Oregon State 10, 3 minutes left.
Yikes. They better make a stop here. Yeah. You're kind of an
unbelievable
administrator in your own right. And as a matter of fact, you're probably more of an administrator than anything else as a head coach.
Yeah, I don't know. And they're joining the AAC. So next year we'll have that going on there. Yeah. Folks, I want to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog has just introduced Scorchers. Go 5 for 5 and pick up Scorchers and enjoy a spicy 100 times payout. And for a limited time, Underdog is extending their first deposit bonus up to $500. They're giving away $100,000 every Sunday. 10 lucky winners will win $10K each. Whew. Oh man, he marked him back at the 4. That's a bad spot, it looked like. So watch along, make picks, maybe make a little extra cash over at Underdog's mobile app or website, underdogfantasy.com. When you sign up with the promo code SGPN, Underdog will double your first deposit up to $500. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by the MMA Gambling Podcast. Look, the MMA Gambling Podcast just launched their YouTube channel in honor of that, we're giving away an MMA Gambling Podcast hoodie to one lucky winner. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/MMA hoodie to submit your entry today, and make sure you subscribe to the MMA Gambling Podcast on YouTube. All right, we are back talking Conference USA. They didn't play this weekend because they play on weekdays, but the Flamin' Libs of Liberty doing it well. Who are they going to play in the championship game? Is it going to be New Mexico State?
Let's take a look at CUSA.
It's good because Jacksonville State can't play them.
That's right. That's terrible. Jacksonville State's in there at 5-1. New Mexico State at 4-1. Do they have a tiebreaker on the likes of Western Kentucky yet?
They play this month.
They play this month. Okay, so that may. But they're both in the West, Western Kentucky and New Mexico State.
Wait, it's all one thing this year.
Oh,
right?
yeah, right. There are no conferences,
Yeah.
so that may be the determining game. Western Kentucky, New Mexico State.
Got him. Oh, touchdown Arizona.
Game.
Wow.
And Oregon State's Cinderella run is over. It looks like.
Unless they beat Oregon.
Even with 2 losses, they're not putting a Pac-12 team in there.
Oh, for the I'm just talking about to win
For
the
the
Pac-12. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're alive.
Yeah.
They're alive.
Yeah, CUSA fun. The MAC was interesting today because
Liberty's pretty good. Liberty's pretty good.
They're going to go undefeated. I want them to win a national championship this year. The MAC, we only had 2 MAC games this week because a bunch of them start on Tuesday and Wednesday. Western Michigan beat the piss out of Eastern Michigan. I lost money on this one. And Miami, Ohio beat Ohio. No Brett Gabbert, no problem.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Miami, Ohio having a hell of a year, 7-2, including a win and breaking a 15-game win streak by Cincinnati.
So that sets up a rematch, Toledo, Miami, Ohio, essentially.
Which was a pretty good game when they played, right?
I mean, Toledo could still lose, but they already beat NIU, so they would need to lose twice.
Yeah. Toledo's probably punched their ticket. Miami, Ohio, based on today, probably punched their ticket because they would have to lose twice now that they have the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Actually, what's the deal with Buffalo?
They're alive. They're alive. Somehow they lost to Fordham this year, but they're still alive in the MAC championship. Welcome to the wacky MAC.
The MAC, I am slowly learning to just appreciate it just because I understand what it is. It's the conference that you come into. It has no chance of doing anything, but all the teams have an equal chance of winning the conference in any given year. And if you just like accept that Northeast, like home, humble flavor of the MAC, it's just watching football, baby. And you
would like it more if they had an auto bid.
I would like it more.
Yeah.
It would be more fun.
They should have an auto bid. All these conferences.
I agree.
Mountain West. Let's talk about the Mountain West. Cause I had a pretty good day.
Dude, the MAC would be fucking phenomenal if they had an auto.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I have a lot of money riding on San Jose State currently, who's up 21-0 on Hawaii. Also, Fresno State's currently up 7 on UNLV. I do have money on the Bulldogs. I also had money on the Nevada Wolfpack, who are up 34-18 on New Mexico.
Well,
Ken Wilson going to get his second win. But I lost a shit ton of money on Wyoming, plus the points against Boise State.
Up.
I also lost money on Colorado State Air Force. Game of the day in the fucking snow.
That was awesome.
Football was officially back.
October snowstorm. Fucking amazing.
Those 2 uniforms also in the snow. Fantastic.
Beautiful.
Now I don't know how the
Colorado State wearing the fucking Colorado flag.
Ones. Yeah.
Fucking awesome. Yeah.
Colorado State was tied up with Air Force at halftime. And I'm thinking, all right, there's no way I'm not going to hit this bet. No, Air Force shuts him out in the second half. Troy Calhoun, the adjustments. He's the fucking best coach in America. I don't want to hear anyone else talk about anything. They shut out Colorado State in the second half. They win 30-13.
Well, when you run a system that is that specific, I really feel like second half adjustments or in-game adjustments are not bullshit. You're like, I know exactly what I run every fucking week. There's almost no variation, and I can see what they're doing, and I can tweak this and this, and depending on what they're giving me, I'm going to take what, and yeah, he's great.
Can I talk about the remaining schedule?
Tulane and Air Force. Who's going to get the bid? That's what I want.
Well, I mean, Air Force, if they go undefeated, should.
Okay. But did they play a Power 5? The likes of Ole Miss?
Power 5 won't fucking play them.
So, but Ole Miss sitting here at what 7-1 now?
Yeah, I know. And the Tulane had their backup
Tulane probably
quarterback.
should have beaten them even with a backup quarterback.
I think Air Force is better than Tulane. Air Force like wins by double digits every week.
I think it's pretty damn comparable. They're both awesome teams.
No, but Tulane barely beat North Texas.
12-team playoff.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, if we're gonna do a Power 4, please keep it at 6 because we do deserve 2 Group of 5 teams, no matter what,
100%,
every year.
100%.
Yeah.
Man, Oregon State scores a touchdown just like that. We still have life. If you are a Beav, I took it. I bet on Arizona, but I have the future on Oregon State, so I'm all over the place.
If Oregon State has a quick strike offense in their repertoire, then maybe they are.
They only have one timeout though, so they're going to need to kick an onside kick.
They're going to need a great onside kick.
So let me ask you this: Air Force is sitting there at 8-0. Remaining schedule next week in Denver at Mile High. They get the Army Black Knights.
That's a win.
At Hawaii.
Win.
Home to UNLV.
Win.
At Boise State, final game of the season. They're going to be 11-0 going to the Smurf turf.
Yeah, that could be a tough.
That's going to be the one, right? That they lose, right?
It could be. And then if they're both 11-1 or 12-1,
and the best thing the Mountain West does is they don't play that neutral site bullshit. You got to come win at their field. I think everyone should do that.
It's kind of cool. I kind of think that it should be at a neutral site too.
No, because it'd be in a stupid fucking dome in Vegas or something.
Well, that is
and there's
true.
no feel to it, and it takes away the fun of football.
Yeah.
Right.
Find a super historic, awesome ass venue, and then you can play a neutral site.
Sun Bowl.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Either way, shout out to Air Force. They're fucking incredible. Right now, it's looking like Fresno Air Force because Wyoming lost to Boise. Boise has to go to Fresno.
No, Fresno Air Force is a lock at this point. I feel like, right?
Well, Wyoming not necessarily because Boise only has one loss and they play at Fresno later in the year.
Oh, Boise's very much alive. I am mistaken. Yeah.
But Boise has to play Air Force too. Their schedule's hard.
All they have to do is probably
Fresno
win
doesn't
one
get
of
Air
those.
Force.
Boise has one loss. Fresno has how many conference losses?
1 to Wyoming.
So whoever wins that one is getting in.
But assuming Boise doesn't lose to Air Force.
Well, even if they do lose to Air Force, if they have a
head
to head on Fresno.
Boise's remaining schedule at Fresno next week, home to New Mexico, at Utah State, home to Air Force.
Yeah, I mean, it's very likely that Boise, Fresno next week.
Here's the onside kick. Terrible onside kick. No way. No way. No way. Oh my God, that was the most hilarious. No, they got it, but Arizona. But that was the slowest onside kick I've ever seen in my life. Oh my God, that was absolutely fucking hilarious. How did he miss that? One of the guys had a shot.
Idiots. All right, let's keep going.
All right, and Sun Belt. That's the final thing. Old Dominion gets it done. Oh my! How did this guy miss it?
Oh, come on!
Oh my God! It was actually the greatest onside kick.
Yeah.
Old Dominion plus 20, easy play. JMU gets it done. The Dukes are 8-0, but now is when the playoffs start for the Dukes, because at Georgia State, at the place Dale Murphy used to hit dingers, home to UConn and Jim Mora. Home to App State, who didn't look very good today, but won, and at Coastal, dude, they're going to go undefeated. If they beat Georgia State, they're going to go undefeated.
Look, the slate. There's a part about this. There are no true break games. Although, you know, if a Power 5 team was playing against this slate, all those teams would be considered break teams or gimmies.
App State does pretty well against Power 5s.
That's true. Georgia State looks all right this year too.
Georgia State will play at LSU in a couple of weeks. We'll get to see.
Yeah. Look, I'm not saying JMU is a championship quality team. There's still a huge talent disparity between them and like the real powerhouses, but they're a fucking good team that keeps winning games, and they deserve to at least play in a bowl game, even if it's a shitty one. Come on, people.
If you go undefeated, you should play in the fucking playoffs.
Probably. I mean,
what is the point of the FBS?
If you win all your games and you don't have a shot at the end of the year. Yes, yeah. I agree.
So what are we doing here?
We've talked about this a million times. Okay. It is stupid. These stupid transition rules. Look, I hope if nothing else, this points out that this is a stupid rule that the NCAA, that no one understands why. I feel like this is something that was like back in the 1960s when like freshmen weren't allowed to play on varsity because they were like on the JV squad or some shit. Like, yeah, this shit doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah, and Arizona. Still, I guess, is there mathematically still a chance to get the ball? App State wins 48-38 over Southern Miss, keeps my future alive, but they look like
suck.
shit.
They suck.
Look like shit. Louisiana. I lost money on this. South Alabama 20, Louisiana
Sun Belt's
33.
kind of a zany conference.
Yeah, ULM loses to Arkansas State. You were right on that. You can tout. You can tout there.
I don't know how much I can tout that. I mean, it wasn't a big game, so Bowden lost it. You know,
I like Daniel in the chat say number one rule of Sunbet betting: fade yourself. I like that. We're there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, right now it's such a joke because JMU can't play in the Sun Belt Championship. So right now it's looking like Georgia Southern or Old Dominion. No, Old Dominion has 2 losses now.
By the way, this is 2 straight fucking years we're being denied the Sun Belt Championship game.
Right now, it would be Troy who won it last year against Georgia Southern.
Entertaining game, but come on.
Georgia Southern's remaining schedule.
We've beaten both of them.
Tough. Georgia Southern's remaining schedule at Texas State, at Marshall, home to ODU, at App State. I got no idea who's going to play in the Sun Belt Championship. It's kind of Mackish this year.
Yeah,
it's very Mackish.
Sun
this
Belt,
year.
Sun Belt. That's what it's.
Well, with JMU not eligible, every other team is it's catastrophe.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you this because like there's a little something that's going on online right now. JMU sidelines, whatever. A JMU account is talking about boycott the Sun Belt Championship game, and then all the JMU fans are like, "Fuck you, quit being like a little pussy about this, whatever." You know. But there's like a Sun Belt brotherhood that is kind of cool on one sense, but on the other sense, it's like, hey, you're our rivals. Fuck you. Like, we should be talking shit to you. We shouldn't be a brotherhood. We should hate you all. Yeah. I don't know how to make it, but I at the same time, the Sun Belt brotherhood is a kind of cool thing.
It is, and Arizona just won the game against Oregon State. So I still think I'm okay for my over 8 wins with Oregon State, but I'm gonna have to sweat it a little more. And I did cash my ticket on Arizona +3.
Nicely done.
All right, folks. What else do we talk about?
Cincinnati.
Let's get the best game balls.
Let me talk about Cincinnati.
Okay, let's talk about these Bearcats.
Absolute fucking disaster. Can you fire a coach after 1 year?
No, it's never been. You need a scandal. I told you this.
Right. Whoever the AD is, right? Well, the AD will probably get fired for it.
Send over a bunch of strippers. To
get Ohio State's like people that are putting the case on Michigan because we're pretty sure that's what's happening, right? It's Ohio State that's like putting the FBI and whoever on Michigan. We should probably talk about that more, but fuck that. Look,
maybe Wednesday.
Somebody get an investigation on Cincinnati and Scott Satterfield. That is a burning dumpster. Okay. Anyway.
Let me ask you this: what is Notre Dame going to do? They're 7-2 now.
Yeah.
At Clemson.
Win.
Home to Wake.
Win.
At Stanford.
Win. 10-2. Blew it against.
You know what's going to kill them is the 10 players on the field.
Yeah.
If they had just,
they would probably be in the playoff if they had beaten Ohio State.
That's what I'm saying.
Marcus Freeman, destiny was not on your side this year. Maybe
and Sam Hartman,
maybe another day.
He's not available for his 77th year of college football. So better luck next year. Wait, don't I have that quote on here? I think I do have that quote somewhere on here. Anyway,
what is that? Have you Gilmore?
Yeah. Where the fuck is that quote? Here.
You can't win.
I don't know. I had it somewhere on this fucking thing. But folks, no, game balls. Let's do game balls. Best win of the day, Patty C, in your opinion.
Let me take a look at this slate here.
It might be. You know what? I think we should start it off with Arizona's not out of this yet. Of the Pac-12 race.
Yeah, that's a big win for them.
Actually,
no. There's one clear game ball here,
dude. Arizona lost to Washington and USC, right?
Yeah.
But I think they're going to win out.
All you have to do is have both of those teams have multiple hiccups. No, they're out.
Well, no, USC and Washington play each other.
That's true. So USC could, if USC beating Washington would be ideal next week for Arizona. because they need both of them out. Because
I think they need Washington to beat USC, right?
and then Washington be the team that's in that they go against.
Because USC plays at Oregon the next week. They're most likely going to lose that, right?
Yeah.
Then Washington still has to go through a gauntlet.
Has Arizona played Oregon yet?
They don't play. That's what I'm saying. Their remaining schedule, Arizona's remaining schedule, home to UCLA.
Yeah.
At Colorado.
Yeah.
Home to Utah.
Yeah.
At Arizona State.
They could definitely win all of those.
I agree.
Yeah.
Dude, they look really good. They're fun to watch.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then if Oregon manages to have one more loss, say Oregon State, and they have a one-loss Arizona, Arizona is very much alive.
Very much alive.
Fucking hilarious.
Very much alive.
All right. I'm going to leave this one for you because it's clearly your play for the game ball of the day, I would think.
The Kansas Jayhawks.
There you go.
Now, let me ask you this, Petty C. What does this mean for the program and long term? What do you really make of Lance Leipold? Like,
He's a phenomenal football coach.
But I mean, he's only in. I consider it year 2.5 because he was such a late hire into May.
Yeah.
Year 1.
Yeah.
What do you think the ceiling is for Kansas moving forward?
You know what?
Is he at the ceiling of what he can do?
Lance Leipold, whether it's the way he looks, he's only 59. He looks a little bit older than that, but he reminds me of fucking Kansas State legend Bill
Snyder.
Bill Snyder a little bit. If he could turn that program away around the way that Bill Snyder didn't have them, yeah, he could have them routinely in the 10-11 win seasons.
The reason why I say this, Kansas is putting like $200 million into their football program, their stadium. And
there's
shit.
no reason. Like, what is the difference between Kansas and Oklahoma in terms of states? Maybe I don't know what the talent like.
Well, and with Oklahoma joining
Texas,
the SEC,
yeah,
you might have more losses, and Kansas could become. I don't know. I mean, I know the Big 12 is going to be a bundle of fun. When I think of the Big 12 next year, my head hurts.
Oh yeah,
I smile, but my head hurts because I'm like
forward,
like Utah, Kansas State. You know, like
it's phenomenal.
Getting Arizona take it. Like this is
just
going to
the
be
fact
fucking
that there's
insane.
not a Texas in there.
Yeah,
and really not an Oklahoma. There are a bunch of Kansas
good
States.
programs. Yeah. So you think though like he can make them like a top 15 team year in year out?
Yeah, if he keeps it up, I do.
Yeah. And Daniel in the chat says, "How good is Kansas State though?"
I think they're pretty fucking
Kansas
good.
isn't even the best school in the state of Kansas, huh?
Yeah, they're not. Kansas State looks fucking awesome.
So I got 2 game balls. I said Arizona.
If Kansas State doesn't lose on a 60-yard field goal to Missouri on the last
3. They should have won that game. I thought they played.
They would be
too.
in playoff contention.
Patty C. I gave 1 to Arizona.
Yeah.
I gave 1 to Kansas. Give me 2 game balls right now.
All right, let me get this pulled up.
The chat is saying Georgia Tech deserves 1. The chat is saying maybe Kansas State deserves.
I think you should probably say
what about
that
NC State beating
Oregon.
Clemson?
Oregon deserves 1
yeah.
for whooping the crap out of Utah in the game of the day. Louisville for blanking Duke. Potentially. I mean, do you give a game ball to USC for escaping Cal? No.
No.
Definitely not. Georgia handling business like they should? No. We're talking about phenomenal wins.
I think like you got to. I think Georgia Tech is worthy of a game ball because I think the program is turning around. Much like my Arizona play, I think Georgia Tech seems to be.
That is a big win. The UNC was still number 17 this week, so that's a good win.
Yeah, it's a very good win. What about Notre Dame? The way they beat Pitt.
A shellacking. Fine. We're giving 2 game balls away.
You got to give 2 right now. You got to give 3 and. I was supposed to go 1. You were supposed to go 1. Like we've fucking done for 5 years.
Wait, we're doing two game balls each or 3?
No, 3.
All right.
3.
Well, let me just fucking say my number 1 game ball. JMU.
Woo!
Boom. 8-0.
8-0.
Staying alive, fighting the good fight. God damn, ODU made us sweat. They're a decent team too. You were just saying, when we were watching the game, Ricky Ronnie doing a pretty good job.
Dude, I'm losing. I took the under on them. I ate shit on that. All right, that's 1 game ball. JMU Dukes.
There you go.
2.
I'll take the Notre Dame one. That was fucking impressive.
Yeah, it was very impressive.
Yeah.
3 for you. Well, for my third one, how about this?
Yeah.
For my third one, I will say Air Force Falcons.
Who is your number 2?
Arizona.
Arizona. Okay.
So
Air Force
Kansas,
Falcons.
Arizona, and Air Force.
I was looking at
3.
Arizona.
Yeah.
I mean, Air Force rather, managing also to stay undefeated. And my third one, I'll give it to Oregon.
That's fair, folks. What about our dumpster fire? Dumpster fire's got to be Pitt. Pitt is one. Do you have another dumpster fire one you want to throw out there? Maryland maybe or
Houston's?
Houston
Tulsa.
41-0.
Yeah. Fucking.
Florida. Kentucky.
Wyoming.
Every fucking team they play.
Can't give Kentucky a dumpster fire for losing by 6.
I know, but I'm just saying they suck. They're pretenders.
Let me give a very bitch ass.
Cincinnati is the dumpster fire.
Yeah, they are a dumpster fire. Okay, that's my dumpster fire. God, what? They're just falling apart. It was at least competitive before. Urban Meyer. Can we start a movement? Look, if it's not Urban Meyer, it better be Rich Rodriguez. He could be fun in Cincinnati.
He would take that too.
Get Scott Satterfield.
He would take that.
The fuck
They're
out of
not
town.
gonna fire him this year, dude.
Fire him. Have some balls.
I love how Patty C says, I don't want, beginning of the episode, he's like, I don't want us to fire anybody. Look, this is someone's job. Narduzzi, don't fire. This gets to Satterfield year 1. Fire him. Get him out of here.
5 beers and a lot of talk.
No, Patty C, as he's drinking the beers,
It's easy to see a tide turn.
folks. I appreciate everyone tuning in, and we'll be back all week with stuff. We got the college football weekend bombs episode Monday. We're going to go through all these games again. All right. We got Monday night. We got the weekday preview. Remember, Maction starts this week. We got the FCS reaction show. Also, is a wild day in the FCS, as it always is. College basketball previews are in full tilt. There's just so many of these college basketball previews we're doing. Go check them all out. They're on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. And yeah, keep on rocking. We got this. This is fun. Check out the Sports Gambling Podcast.
This is a fucking great season. I don't know. Sometimes you can't see what's happening while it's happening.
Who's your 4-team invitational right now?
Right now, I think you have to say Michigan, Georgia. I'm going to say Oregon, and then I think another Big Ten. I think you say Ohio State. I think that's what will happen. Whether I think that's what deserves to happen, I don't. I think whoever wins the Michigan Ohio State game should be in. Whoever loses should be the fuck out. That's why you play a game. And you got a bunch of undefeated teams that are just going to not get an invite.
Anyway, folks, we appreciate you. All right. Really do. Had a lot of people in the chat rocking. Always a good time. Until Monday, folks, this is the College Football Experience Week 9 reaction show. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Run and shoot.